Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Caroline Garnett McGraw, and I'm with The Clearing, which is a non-12-step dual diagnosis residential addiction treatment center. As we like to say in plain English, we help people learn how to not hate themselves anymore. So today we're going to talk about how to heal from emotional abuse. And this is a topic that until recently, our culture didn't really acknowledge and understand. We had this understanding of physical abuse, of being hit and the negative impact that that could have. But as a culture, we really didn't have a firm grasp on the significance of abuse that happens with no bruises and no broken bones. And one of my favorite parts of Dr. Mark Lewis's book, The Biology of Desire, Why Addiction is Not a Disease, is the chapter in which he talks about Natalie, a college student who had been a high achiever, but ended up abusing heroin, going to jail, all of this stuff. Her life really took a downward spiral. And he talked about her realizing that she'd been depressed for most of her life. But the quote goes like this: "She always thought that it wasn't that bad because she couldn't quite believe that emotional suffering is real suffering and that it counts." And so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the reality of emotional abuse, that it does count as real suffering, and how to heal from it, how to move on, how to recover. So this is what we treat in our program. This is what we do. We work with the underlying core issues, which are the mental and emotional upsets and the pains and the hurts that people have been carrying around for years unresolved. So first, what is emotional abuse? Really quick definition. It's anything that's harmful on the heart level, on the emotional level. So mental abuse is harmful on the mental level, physical abuse harmful on the physical level. So you might say, well, that's completely subjective though, because how would I know what hurts you on the heart level? And absolutely it is. It's a subjective definition. But we can look at a couple of behaviors that are recognized as emotionally hurtful to many people. Everyone is different, but there are certain behaviors that we know are shame-based and hurtful on this level for many people. So anything that constitutes psychological aggression, a behavior that's used with the intent to harm, that's the key here. So if you make an offhand comment and then you realize, oh, that could have come off the wrong way, and I'm really sorry, and I didn't mean it like that. That's very different from a long-term pattern of belittling, gaslighting, name-calling, infantilizing. That stuff is more the emotional abuse side. It's about the intention, it's about whether it's repeated, and it's really about the impact on you as a person. And we now know actually that emotional abuse and mental abuse can be more harmful to our mental health or to our psychology than physical violence. There have been studies that connect emotional abuse with depression, anxiety, particularly with addiction, because when a person feels really hurt and powerless on the emotional level, they're extremely likely to use, because drugs allow them to connect with something, to have some relief. And actually, Dr. Lance Dotis talks about this idea of addiction as a way out of helplessness. And often we think of addiction as being, oh, that's just dysfunctional. Oh, that's just really messed up. And he says, no, actually, the action of using is a fight against powerlessness because it's a response to a hurt. So someone, mistreats you, or you mistreat yourself, and then you go for your drug, not as an act of, bizarre disconnection, but it's this desire to do something about it. It's misguided maybe, but it's actually proactive. So anyway, now that we've talked about what emotional abuse is, let's talk about how to heal from it. There are 3 main points I want to hit in the remainder of this video. And those points are, number 1, work with emotional abuse on the emotional level. This sounds really basic, but how many times have you heard someone say, I just can't wrap my mind around it? How could he lie to me all the time? Or I can't believe that this person I trusted has been gaslighting me for years. I can't wrap my mind around it. And that's the idea. You can't wrap your mind around it because it's an emotional level hurt. And so you may go to therapy, you may be talking about it a lot, you may hash over the details with friends a lot, but until you actually work with that emotional level hurt, you're not going to get to the root of the issue because that's where the injury occurred. You got to work with the injury on the level at which it occurred. So there are lots of good strategies to do this. A key one that we use in our program is called Gestalt, in which you talk to an aspect of yourself or to the other person. You use an empty chair and you feel the feelings that are associated with that abuse. And the remarkable thing is, when you're in a safe space, when you have emotional support from other people, from a therapist or, from a trusted person, from a counselor, then you're able to feel the hurt and the pain and apply compassion to that hurt and that pain. And then you're able to move on. And often it happens more quickly than you would think because you're giving it the correct medicine. The correct medicine for emotional hurt is compassion and is loving care and kindness. And that can be so much more powerful than you ever could imagine. So that's the first point. Work with emotional abuse on the emotional level. Yeah, it's important to intellectually understand it, but you're not going to heal if that's where you stop. Number 2 is to learn how to be in the present moment and to stay in the present moment. And there's this great quote from Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who's an expert on healing from trauma. And he writes, "Healing means bringing the person into the present moment where the danger is gone." So if you're able to stay in the present moment in your real life right now and not get stuck in the past where the abuse happened, then you have real potential to be able to heal. Because what keeps us in danger is when we're in the present moment, but we're also playing these thought loops and keeping ourselves stuck in the past. And again, the way to feel safe in the present moment is to apply love to the parts of yourself that hurt. So those 2 points are tied together. And then the last thing I'll say about healing emotional level abuse is that it's your job to take care of you. It may be completely true that someone else consistently and systematically hurt you on an emotional level. But now, having realized that, you were doing the best that you could at the time when you endured that abuse. But now that you know, it's your job to take good care of you. It's your job as the adult to make sure that you're in safe situations. And if you're in a situation where you feel like this isn't going in a good direction, it's your job to take good care of yourself and to leave. That is your right. So be present, be loving. And the key thing here is really don't abandon yourself. Because often we think that the pain of emotional abuse is that person abandoned me, they hurt me, they did all of this. And that may be completely true. And yet, a lot of our pain actually comes from the ways in which we've abandoned ourselves, the ways in which we didn't take good care of ourselves. That person might have been the vehicle, but the real pain is, oh man, I really left myself. I abandoned myself. I let myself down here. And the good news is, though, that you can repair your relationship with yourself. It doesn't matter what's going on now in your relationship with that other person. They may have passed away. They may not be in your life anymore, but you can repair that relationship with yourself. And the way that you do that is to learn to apply love to the parts of yourself that hurt and repair that connection with yourself. So that's how to heal from emotional abuse. And before we close, I'll just take a peek at the comments and reply to anyone who left a note. So I see Caleb. Hello, graduate here, the power of now. Excellent. Welcome, Caleb. Yes, we always love to see our graduates on these Facebook Live videos. And we appreciate everyone for watching and listening. And stay tuned for more great content. I'll also post a couple of links in the comments section if you want to read more about this topic. All right, everyone. Signing off. Have a great day.